I will begin by saying faith is a condition that makes possible positive things to happen, good things to happen in our lives, good things to happen in our lives. The absence of faith is distrust. Distrust. I have faith. If I don't have faith, then I have distrust. Distrust is good when it's called for. There are many things we should distrust. Like some people that get so holy they think they can jump off a building. Well, I distrust that power. So distrust is good, but when it's justly called, only when it is justly called for. Just like in our religion, we are permitted to be suspicious. Although God tells us that some suspicion is sin. Some suspicion is sin. Nevertheless, we are permitted to be suspicious because some situations justify us being suspicious. Just like when you go into an all European American neighborhood, you know, and you've never been in that neighborhood before. Well, you're going to be cautious if you're intelligent. You're going to be more cautious than you were around your neighborhood. You're going to be a little bit more cautious. You'll be suspicious of the possibilities, you know. So those are circumstances that justify you being a little cautious, a little suspicious, having a little less sense of security, being a little less trustful of the circumstances you have certainly found yourself in. So these are natural. In fact, we cannot think of anything that is natural for a human being that is not approved in our holy book. Whatever is natural for a human being is approved in our holy book. It's natural to hate. I know some people say, oh, if you're a religious person, if you are really a sincere and servant of God, how can you hate anybody? It's human nature to hate certain people. And hate is just a strong dislike. That's all it is. Hate is a strong dislike. So there are certain people, because of their behavior and because of their treatment to you or treatment to some of your loved ones, you naturally hate them. And you will hate them until you see something in them to make you believe that now I can stop hating them, or now it is not a real reason anymore for me to hate them. You know? And if you are the kind of person that can forgive, you will start to hate them less. I used to have a problem with the Christian religion because I heard they say that you ain't supposed to hate nobody. You ain't supposed to hate, you know. I heard that, and I had a problem with that. Even when I was young, still in my teens, I had a problem with that. And I heard my father once said that there's a writing in the Bible that says there were two brothers, and God loved one and hated the other. So I said to myself, if that's true, and the Christians know that, how can they say that you ain't supposed to hate nobody? You know? When God himself hated one brother and loved the other. So I just couldn't manage that. And I still, as much as religion has really grown in me, and I thank Allah, sometimes I have to put a check on myself, you know, so I won't slip out of this body as some angelic form and leave it all, you know, and lose it all. So, you know, but I've really grown a lot in a virtuous way and a peaceful and humble way, and I still hate. There's some things I still hate. And some people, I don't hate them as a person, I hate what's in them. And maybe that's what the Christian mean. Maybe they mean that we shouldn't hate the person, we should only hate whatever's in them that's causing the problem. Well, that's right. I hate the way they think. I hate the way they reason. I hate the way they feel. I hate the way they express their feelings. Or it's just, I can go on and on and on and tell you what I hate. Well, that's enough for that, I think. Now, getting back to a situation that is best for us. Best situation for us. Best situation for us is, first of all, a situation where we can have faith. Faith. Without faith, you can't accomplish anything. If you don't have faith in yourself, you can't accomplish anything. If you don't have faith in something outside of yourself, you can't accomplish anything. If you don't have faith in your family, you can't have a good family. You got to have faith in something in order to, even when your family just appear to be a total loss, oftentimes you will find certain people still with their family, loving their family, doing for their family. And they know the family in its appearance is a total loss. Why? They have faith. They have faith in the family. They have faith in the family, or they have faith in a principle. Faith in a principle. They have faith that if I continue to present myself in a decent way, and if I continue to keep my life, my decent life, maybe that will one day bring them back or influence them to come around. So they have faith in something. You have to have faith in something. If you don't have faith in anything, there's no way to survive. When Allah created everything, and I'm going to the idea that we, in our true nature, true character, true makeup, we are people in a good situation. We are people of faith. When Allah created everything, the creation, it is said in the traditional sayings of our prophet, peace and blessings be upon Mohammed, that he showed the angel Jibreel or Gabriel his creation. And the great angel Jibreel or Gabriel, he said, my Lord, oh my Lord, how can anyone go wrong, go astray in such a wonderful creation? Then Allah showed him the creation after the creation had been altered, affected, influenced by the Satan, the devil, the Satan. And the response from the angel Jibreel was, oh my Lord, how can anyone go straight in such a creation? So that tells us something. I will go now directly to it when Prophet Muhammad, with the saying of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that everyone is born a Muslim. And it is the circumstances that they're put in that make them Jew, Christian, or other. Science, as you know, points to two conditions as being responsible for forming us. One is our genetic makeup, what we have inherited genetically from our parents and from those behind us. And the other is the environment. This is science, Western science, and I would say it is universal. Science, wherever you find it, will say that is true. So basically, or essentially, there are two circumstances accounting for what we are, the condition that we have internally. The genes of our parents and the environment that we so happen to be in. I don't know how many of us will be concerned to work for the better genetic outcome of our life. But according to science, it would make good sense even to work for the better genetic outcome of your life, of our lives. That is, by seeking a person of good nature, of good behavior, of good reputation, of good mind, to mate with, so that the likelihood of the child being good and what you would like will be improved a little bit, you see. And I think it would be not only scientifically backwards, but it would be ignorant of a common sense person to knowingly go and pick some trash, some junk, some filth, a wreck from the society, and mate with them and have children. Now, I know some religious people, they're so tender-hearted, even this hurts them. And some of you might be sniffing a little bit now. Well, you're the ones should be left with those wrecks of society. You can have them. I think the sensible man and sensible woman should be looking for someone with a genetic makeup, with a natural makeup, that will most likely account for a better generation. It will account for a better generation. Don't just go out there picking somebody. Don't you know our religion tells us do not pick a mate out of lust, out of sexual drive. You cannot pick a mate because of sexual desire. No, that can't be. There's no foundation, there's no grounds, pardon me, no justification for taking a mate into marriage. So we marry, but if that is the main motivation, then that marriage is not respected. If sex is the main motivation. If sex is not the main motivation, what should be the main motivation? It should be decency. Qualities in that person that will make for a good mother, or a good husband, or a good father. You see? We should be looking for that. The qualities there that will make the home, that will contribute to the life in the home being good and being better. Each generation should seek to improve. The generation behind us, whatever good they did, it should be a challenge to us to do better. I should want my family to be better than my father's family. All around, in terms of virtuous life, in terms of education, in terms of material success, whatever, I should want my family to be better. That's how we should be motivated. And now we've come upon a word that's very important to faith. Motivation. Motivation. We find that the conditions we have today, in spite of very, I would say, very, very excellent conditions, we have the worst of conditions right along with those very, very excellent conditions. There was a professor, a school teacher, instructor, in fact he was the principal of our school, I call him Professor. His name is Yusuf Salim, who now teaches in Washington, D.C. That's his home, I believe, the home of he and his wife. Both of them are educators, Sister Mariam Salim, his wife, and Brother Yusuf Salim. He spoke in my absence at an educational meeting in Richmond, Virginia, here recently. And one of the things he said in his talk caught my attention for my address today because it goes along with what I'm going to say today. And he said, right in the midst of advancement is stagnation. Right in the midst of advancement is stagnation. Now, we know what stagnation is. Stagnation means nothing is happening. Nothing is going forward. Nothing is improving. Everything is just held in a bad situation. It can't get started. That's stagnation. Can't get started. That is stagnation. Right in the midst, he says, of advancement, of progress, and I would say astounding advancement, astounding, amazing progress. Because when we look at this time that we're living in, 1989, and look at the achievements of man in terms of education, science, technology, modernization of towns and transportation and all that, we live in an amazingly progress time. It's surprising how much progress we have in our lives today, in our environment today. But right in this environment that is so advanced in scientific terms, in material terms, in technological terms, and so many other ways, we have this absence of motivation, absence of excitement in the life of our people in these big cities and many times in the small towns. We have this absence of enthusiasm. No enthusiasm. And I have looked at it and brought it down to its smallest factor. And I find that at the base of all of this is the loss of faith. And I can see just how it have all come about. First, religion was treated in a way to make the public play down its sacredness. And I will go back to maybe 25 years ago or so, when a headline appeared in one of the popular magazines, and I was so shocked by it at that time. I was believing in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and believing in his way of presenting the religion. I was believing in his Trinitarian idea of God. That is, I believe the flesh manifestation of God was a man, his teacher called Farad, W.F. Muhammad, or Wali Farad Muhammad, or W.D. Farad. I was believing in that. But when I saw that headline, it angered me that anyone would let anything be published in any kind of civilized society that believes in religion. This is a religious society. America is a Christian country with many other strong religious communities in it, Jews and others. So it bothered me that a magazine could come out like that with a big caption on it saying, "God is dead." Now, we know the magazine wasn't actually saying God is dead. The article wasn't actually saying God is dead. The writer was not actually saying God is dead. But what the writer was saying is that he sensed a growing disinterest in American society and Western society for the kind of respect we give God, or we should give God. That's really what the message he was trying to come to. And I believe maybe he had good intentions to try to shock the American people, to say, look, we are a Christian country, but in our country, God is dead. But many times we can be motivated and intentions will be good, but if the rational tools are not working properly, we can make a big goof, mess up. We can make a big mess up. As a young child, believing in what Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught of religion, I had the rational alertness to see right away that that thing was doing more harm than it possibly could do good. Because you have many people, the masses of people, understand this too, that Allah, in telling us about the good people in religion, those who we can trust to carry responsibility, he says they are in the few. But how does he say it? And most of them are not. And most of them are not. Talking about people in general. Most of the people are not. Not what? Not the ones that you find in the forefront. Not the ones that you can give responsibility to for the religion, for good behavior, for the good future and good security of the town. You can't give them that. Most of them are careless in their life. Most of them too relaxed in their life. Most of them are not disciplined enough. Most of them are kind of foolish-minded. And it's true today, when you go downtown to a movie or to a whatever, a play or whatever, most of the people in the crowds, would you say they're responsible? Unless you go to a special place that's attracting intellectuals, attracting the better minds and better caliber of the people, you will say most of them can't be trusted. And many times, if you got a little money on you, you keep your hand in that pocket. You're afraid to even take your hand out of that pocket. So, whatever Allah said back then, 1,400 years ago or more, is true today. That most of the people, they're just not the ones to trust with heavy responsibility. And our condition today is worse, perhaps, in the history of America. Right now, the condition of people today in terms of being trustworthy is worse, perhaps, in the whole history of America. I do believe that. Yes. No. We have to have a motivation. There has to be motivation. We need to have motivation, to be moved, to want to do something. And if you don't have that motivation, that tells me that the problem is the absence of faith. Now, when the attack upon God, now I'm not saying that was an intentional attack upon God, but when that came out, I see the history of it now. From that point, more and more disrespect for the sacred things followed. When the movie, what was it called? God? Oh God, came out. And there was a little shabby man that I like. I like him as an artist, George Burns. A little shabby man, he's playing God. He's God. And then behind that movie came another movie with him, Oh God, You Devil You. Can't you see how they increase the dosage? Let's give them a dose of disrespect. They took that dose, well, let's give them a stronger dose of disrespect. And along with this is also something that developed. It would happen in the past, but it would be frowned on. It wasn't approved. It wasn't made popular. But the thing now is made popular, this disrespect for Catholics, disrespect for the Catholic Church, disrespect for the Catholic priests, disrespect for the Catholic nuns, all in the movies, all in the society. Just a joke. Now they even include it in commercials sometimes. A disrespect for a Catholic. Why they want the Catholic? Because if they pick a Baptist or one of us, we dress just like everybody else. We don't say without our parents that we are religious, or the church people, or the mosque people, or God-fearing people. But the people of the monasteries and of the nunneries, you know what I mean. Yes, that's it. Yes, that is correct. It's been so long since I've been in touch with that language. Yeah, I was in touch with that language as a student of Christianity, but now I've been so long. Yes, so they readily identify them with religion. Their dress, their looks readily identify them with religion. So while you're laughing at that person, they know that the same conscience that has to relax to laugh at that person is the conscience that has to also become alert to respect what that person is connected with. So if they can get you to relax and laugh at that person, subconsciously your guard is dropping. Your discipline is relaxing. And then they can bring, oh God, you devil you. And you'll take that. What am I getting at? There has been an intentional thing going on to break down the foundations of faith, so that the majority of the public people will have no strong foundations of faith. And a people who fear God, the best way to break down all of their supports of faith is to get them to relax and take God lightly. Even for the non-churchgoer, for the person who doesn't frequent the synagogue or the mosque, even for that person that thinks he's really outside of the church. In America, most likely, he's a God-fearing person, if not today, at least 25 years ago. I remember when I was a boy, it was almost impossible to find a person that wouldn't acknowledge God in America. Almost impossible. If there were communists and atheists, they were almost impossible to find, especially in the African American community. But with this thing consciously happening, now it is hard to find a person truly consciously believing in God. Their belief is a belief like believing in the numbers. You know? It's something that they believe in, but let's not talk about it too much. Do you believe in the numbers? Oh, yes, I believe in the numbers. But let's not talk about that right now. Do you believe in God? Oh, yes, I believe in God. But let's not talk about that right now. That's uncomfortable. Now, how are we going to bring faith? If I'm correct now, that the big problem for the absence of enthusiasm in us to do positive and real things for our good life and progress, if the real problem is of the absence of for the absence of enthusiasm, motivation, faith, the real problem is the actual loss of faith itself, the loss of the foundation of faith itself in us, then how are we going to go about bringing that back? We hear the call coming from what they call the far right, but I don't think that's a justification. Not for many of the good things that's coming from the far right, because they weren't only coming from them, they were coming from us long before they got the attention. But because of them having great wealth and European American identity and such great numbers, and was so important to President Reagan, they got all the attention. But many of the basic kinds of virtues, the basic virtues and the basic kind of thinking that have come to be associated with the far right, long before they got that reputation, we were fighting and battling like the Dickens to get our people to come back to basics. Yes, we're witnesses. I have many witnesses here and throughout this country. In fact, I have many witnesses for many things. I'm telling you, over the time of my father and time of myself, since 1975, February 1975, many great things have happened. Many great things have happened to bring about a revitalization of the human life. Not only in our small circle, but in the whole world where it's needed. If only the message of what had been happening with us, among us, had gone out to the world. Yes, the power to bring life back to the world is right in the story, if it's told in the right and true way, is right in the story of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and myself. Yes. Right now, I'm rolling a thought over in my mind. I'm invited to join a summit of African American leaders that's to be held in Louisiana. And I'm rolling the thought over in my mind. And I know some of you are saying, well, how come you have to roll that over in your mind? If you're fortunate enough to be invited to the summit, you better get on down there, you know. No, I have to roll the thought over in my mind. because I recall that it was from us that came the announcement that we are going to start a separate party and present a candidate from ourselves to run for the presidency of these United States. We were the first. Not that others didn't have the desire or have that aspiration. I'm sure they did. Not that others didn't say that in close quarters or in talk with each other or at meetings. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they discussed the possibility of running an African American. But I don't know of anyone coming and making a public announcement, as we did in Washington, D.C. And sometime after that, we had Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, running for the president of the United States. Not only that, I can go and name, I can talk for the next hour just on the firsts that have come from us and picked up outside and called first out there. For example, for about 30 years now, I have been preaching a new way of looking at Africa. About 30 years, I've been preaching a new way of looking at Africa. I've been preaching that the way we see Africa, even in so-called African American writings, is wrong. The name itself is not ours. The term Africa and African is not ours. It was put on us. To say that the black people are people just that have nothing but a mind for sex. If you want a strong sex potent to make you strong sexually, then go to Africa. Aphrodisiac. Yes. So I was aware of that, and I couldn't find no support for that name in true history of our people. But I found support from it coming from Europe. Scipio Africanus and others with name Africanus. They named the continent, and then when they voyaged and went there and came back home, that their people called them such and such person, who's now connected with Africa because of his studies, his history, his studies there, studying the African people, mapping the continent for us. He's Scipio Africanus. The closest word I can find is that it happened to be an Arabic word, Ifrit, and that means a big jinn. And another thing I learned, that Africans do not call themselves Africans only when they're talking to non-Africans. They only call themselves Africans when they're talking to non-Africans. Not only Africa, the big continent, but just look at a piece of it. We call the people of northern Africa there Egyptians. The people above the Sudan. We call them Egyptians. They don't call each other Egyptians. They only say Egyptians when they're talking to people outside of them and who were from the West. They call themselves Misri, Misriyun. Single, for one, Misri. For many, Misriyun. That's what they call themselves. If you look up in the Bible will tell you that that part of the land was called Misraim. Misraim. And that's the Jewish language, or the Jewish influence language, which identifies two Egypts. Misraim, two Egypts. And we know that Egypt was once two Egypts, and they were combined under one pharaoh at one time. And actually now, in a sense, there are two Egypts, Sudan and Egypt. They once were under the same rule. Sudan and Egypt were once under one rule. And once under some that had hair like mine, not quite as soft as mine. These are facts. Now, I'm proud to say that the experiences I had in the Temple of Islam, that's what they were first called, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's religious places, were called temples of Islam. that I had that experience in the Temple of Islam that made me at least alert-minded and curious to not just take things on face value, especially coming from this world. Now, the only problem that I have with that mind that I had back then was that it made me relax too much before the people that I believed in. That's why I say I don't want you saying yes to everything I say, even if it's true. Every once in a while, don't say nothing. Don't say no to something true. That'd be lying. You know, but at least don't say nothing. Just look at me. Because back there, you know, whatever the temple said, yes. Yes. And the Japanese made a ship on an island near Japan there. And that ship is going to be one of the ships that are used in the destruction of America. Yes. Japan losing the war. Yes. Atomic bomb falling on Japan. Yes. We weren't situated to deal with that situation, but we were sure enough alert to the white man's world. Everything he said, wait. No. 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 And if it just had to say yes, we say yes by just looking. That was our yes. We didn't say no. That was our yes. That means, well, I have to admit that. I ain't got no comment. We need a situation in our life for faith, first of all. And Allah created everything to situate us in the best way to be a trusting people, to trust something. You have to trust something. The human being in his natural makeup is trustworthy. Trustworthy. We are not suspicious of our new babies when they come from the mother. Who is suspicious of the new baby that comes from the mother? Nobody. That baby is coming from the mother exactly as Allah created it. It has to wait a while. You know, it's really fascinating, life itself, the wonderful life Allah created. Fascinating. They tell us in science that the child comes with an immunity. With an immunity. Isn't that wonderful? Now here we don't have an immunity. Big old grown-up. We don't have any immunity. The thing gets in our mouth, we sick. The virus hit our nose, we sick. We sick. Baby come here with a natural immunity. Ain't gonna catch no disease. They're gonna be all right for at least, I think, 6 months. About 6 months. 6 months. Got a powerful immune system for 6 months. Now here's a grown-up America, immune system gone, just like everybody got a bad case of the AIDS. I'm not talking about the physical immune system. I'm talking about the human immune system. You should have protection in you against things that tend to destroy your virtuous life, destroy your moral life, destroy your rational balance. We should have an immune system to deal with that. So we have to have circumstances within to deal with circumstances without. And the most important thing, I repeat, the need for faith, real faith. There was a time in this country when the masses, that is the majority of our people, and when I say our people, I would like to include all people in our circumstances, or in this particular picture that I'm addressing. There was a time when the great majority of us were uncomfortable and not satisfied with what we were getting in this world, with what we were getting in America. But today, let's be honest, people. Let's be truthful about this. Today, the great majority of African Americans are satisfied with what they're getting from America. They're satisfied. Now, if you hear them complaining, it's because somebody is agitating out of their circle. Somebody out of their circle is agitating. So a politician will get up and agitate. And he will agitate, and maybe he'll excite a certain number of the masses to join him in a complaint. But most of us, we don't have any complaint. We have lost the fine conscience of progressive-minded people. We have come now to the typical condition for man in the history of man. And that condition is that most of the time, it is only a minority that's ready to do something to change conditions. Not a majority. Always, most of the time, a minority. We used to have a majority because the system had the majority of us in very bad condition. But now that there's plenty of food, what did Napoleon say? Napoleon said a well-fed army is an obedient army. Napoleon, the great general, great strategist, genius on the battlefield. He said that a well-fed army is an army you can trust. So what happens when the bare necessities of life are made plentiful, and then the society goes a little bit over that and give luxuries to its masses? What happens? The same thing happened to the masses that happened to Pompeii and many other great ancient nations, and even nations less distant in the past. They are energetic, enthusiastic, working people, excited about tomorrow, excited about the future, excited about possibilities, until they reach a point in their life and their progress as a civilized and materially advancing society, that they have so many comforts, everything. They don't have to want for food. They don't get hungry. They have all the convenience. They sleep in very comfortable beds, nice homes, got all the amusement they can dream of. Everything is just so easy for them. So what happens? They lose the desire, the will to struggle. They lose the will to make real efforts. And they start to depend upon the circumstances. And the circumstances happen to be favoring them, just taking it easy. So they start to depend upon the circumstances, and in time they grow soft. The muscles collapse. Not only the physical muscles collapse, but the internal muscles collapse. The muscles of the will collapse. The muscles of the moral life collapse. When those things collapse, also the intellect, the muscles of intelligence, the muscles of reasoning also collapse. And pretty soon, a nation that they used to just spank anytime they wanted to become a threat. Now today with America, it's not a threat from somebody that's holding a bigger gun, bigger material, bigger artillery in that sense, but it's coming from little people they used to spank. Little people like the Koreans, West Germany, Japan, all challenging America industrially and giving her a hard battle. A hard battle. Taking the lead in some respects from America. Yes. Why? What does industry say about this? What does the factory say about this? They say it is because human beings in America are no longer competent. You no longer can find real substance, human substance, in the persons that's coming for the job. Why? A loss of faith. That's what I'm saying. That's what we believe, a loss of faith. And I'm saying it's the essentials of a human life. The essentials of a human life. The essentials of a human life, virtuous life, rational life, ambitious life, enthusiastic spirit, industrious spirit. All of that has to come back, but it can't come back unless you have a basis of faith there in the people. So we need to be appealing to that small minority to come back to true faith and understand that faith is a great mesh, a great network. My faith in God is not isolated from my faith in my wife. God wants me to have faith in him because he wants me to have a faithful relationship with my wife. He doesn't need me to have faith in him to support him. Allah says he needs nothing from us for himself. Whatever he wants for us is for us. That's what he says. I'm quoting the Holy Book. He needs nothing from any of his creation for himself. That's what Allah says. But he needs it in us for our own selves. So faith in Allah is a power for us. It's a good situation for us. Now, if you go on a job and you're working for an establishment, a business establishment, or you going to an education institution, you're going to be employed there, working there. Or you just join a project that's temporary, a temporary project, just to do a job, like folding these chairs up and putting them back where they came from. You have to have some trust in that initiated it. The person that's responsible for it. Somebody gonna say, we have to get all these chairs and put them back where they belong. That was the condition of our contract. Now, if you don't have any respect for that person, then most likely we're not going to get the job done. If we do, we're going to have a lot of problems. But if you hear what that person says and respect that person, respect what they say, you trust them that yes, he can be trusted in that responsibility or in that role that he has there. He can be trusted. So everything works well. If you are working in a business and you lose respect for the corporate bosses, that business will go down until something happens to bring up trust in the subordinates again for those that are over them. Yes. So it is with life. Allah created all of this. You can call Allah by any name you want. That's proper or appropriate. Allah did all of this. Whether your rational mind or conscious mind is dealing with it or not, it is being digested by your soul, by your nervous system and your soul. That reality is digested by your nervous system and your soul, whether it's speaking in your conscious mind or not. Your nature, your soul, and your nervous system is aware that something is out of place, something is not connected, something is being overlooked, something is missing, and that something that's disturbing your spirit and your nervous system and your soul is your disrespect for number one. You have number one, number two, number three. If you move some of those out of the place, something starts to be uneasy here. Something starts to be not so comfortable here, inside, when you move something out of place. If there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you take 3 out of place, and each one is vital for the function of the 5 as a unit. Okay, something is disturbed, something is missing. You're going to feel some trouble here, even if you don't know it consciously. Now, if you take the most important one out of there, number 1, you take it out, you know you're in bad shape. That's just like having a car and you say, I'm going to take the motor out and I'm going to drive. And that's the point. We need a healthy, real, sensible appreciation for our Creator. We call it Allah. We need a real healthy, sensible appreciation for Allah. And we need to trust whatever made life possible for us. Whatever made the universe and our life possible for us. We need to trust that. We say Allah. You say whatever you want to say. We need to trust that. And if we trust that, that is the condition for other supports. That is the condition for other support. If you trust that, then you're going to be able to, you're going to be sensitive to the need to trust other things that are deserving of your trust. Like your wife, or your husband, or your mother, or your father, your guardian, your neighbor, or whatever. You're gonna be sensitive to the need to trust other things that are deserving of trust or should be trusted. That's why the principles of faith begin with Allah, Iman Billah. For Muslims, Iman Billah. We call it faith in Allah. But the word Iman and the word trust are together in the Quranic language and also in Arabic language. They're together. From the same word we get faith, we also get trust. From the same word we get faith, we also get believe. From the same word we get faith, we also get safety. From the same word we get faith, we also get security. From the same word. So you see, if we need faith. You're beginning to see the bigger context now. Is the bigger circle coming in? Allah is the condition for the whole circle to have trust and faith between its necessary members. Necessary members. The necessary units of a working society, or a working group, or even your working order of your own self. Don't you know you are a world in yourself? For the necessary working of the parts in your own world, there must be Allah to make it work well. And you may say, well, we don't have to have. Look what the communist world did without God. Yes, and look what they're doing now because of that. They're doing a lot of soul searching now. And it didn't take 1,000 years, did it? That language is changing so much now until it sounds like it's coming from the founding fathers of America. So don't you be fooled anymore. You pay for disrespecting Allah. Allah says in the Holy Book that as long as they stay with me, I stay with them. But when they break from me and turn away from me, then I turn away from them. That's what Allah says. And he says that when he turns away from you, now I'm giving my words here, you suffer the greatest possible loss. I'm summing it up in my own language. You suffer the greatest possible loss. Once a man of African origin, but he was actually Saudi Arabian. But he had lived in Africa since before his birth. People had lived there since before his birth. So he was Saudi Arabian by nationality. He told me he couldn't hardly speak much English at all. But because I could understand some Arabic, we were able to understand each other. He told me, he said, for everything we lose, there's something to compensate it. And that's a good thing for us to know. Because I remember when I was a young man, I wish I had somebody to tell me that over and over again. Because I lost a pretty young girl that I'm telling you, I thought it was over for me. I thought I was just going to die. And if you had seen me stay up all night until the sun came up, you would say, yeah, I think he's going to die if he hasn't done that. So I needed somebody to tell me that then, that for everything you lose, there's something to compensate for it. But anyway, this is Imam, the old man too, he's an old man. He said, for everything you lose, there's something to compensate for it, except Allah. Say, for Allah, you lose Allah, there's nothing to compensate for it. And if I had the time, I could go more into explaining the consequences of turning our backs or forgetting because of negligence or blindness. Just turning our backs and disrespecting Allah and losing faith and trust in Allah. I could show you real cases in history, in the history of societies, and prove to you that no other factor stands out as an answer for that happening more so than their turning their backs on the Lord Creator. and disrespecting him. Most of these churches have been turned into little places to support pimps. Demagogues. They just say whatever the congregation want them to say to keep getting them out the money or to stay popular with them. Yes, that's what has happened to most of the churches. Now, I'm not saying we don't have fine churches. Chicago still have some very fine churches, some very fine preachers. They're women and men. But this is the description of the lot of the churches in Chicago. And all you have to do is turn on the radio and listen to their sermons. Some of them I can't stand them for 2 seconds. Because I know what he's preaching for. He's not preaching for God. He's not preaching for Jesus. Peace be upon Jesus. He's not preaching for Jesus. He's not preaching for God. He's not preaching for righteousness. He's preaching for a big offering. Or preaching to tear down another preacher. So he gets some of that preacher's offering. You know, you can tell the state of a people just by turning on the radio and listening to the music in the church. You want to see what is the state of the people in a town? Go turn on their major stations for their music and their religion and listen to them. And you will get a good picture of the people in that town. And when I do that, when I turn on and listen to the popular music, and I listen to the popular preachers, I say, boy, oh boy. We are still on State Street, next door to the junkyard. I've invited you all over and over again to, in the name of respect, if nothing else, come to Islam. Be a Muslim. And don't let nothing resembling the fakes, the demagogues from the world out there come up here and speak to you and you support it. Even though he says his name is Mohammed, Abdullah. If he comes up here and he looks like that junk out there, don't support him. I have associates. I associate with Christian leaders and Jewish leaders. I even have some leaders, some religion that's not even one of those. And I feel a strong common bond with them. The common bond of real faith in Allah. They call it Allah something else. But I feel that strong common bond with them of faith, or real faith. And I feel in them the common bond of human decency. So I share these two strong bonds with them. The bond of faith in our Creator and the bond of faith in human decency. Human decency. Because of that, I embrace them with the same love, with the same care and concern that I show to the Muslim here that I embrace, that I see in good Muslim image and good Muslim shape. Yes. And that's what we have to understand. That is the most important thing, that the content be right. The content should be right. But I know for a fact that the majority of the people representing these religions to the public, not only not worth a nickel, but they should be shot. They actually should be shot. That's right. Now, you know, we don't shoot them in a civilized society, especially in a democratic civilized society. In a democracy, you have more at your disposal to use than guns, sticks and knives and stuff like that. You can beat them faster by just exposing them. So we are obligated to expose them and to call our people to something real, to something decent, to call them back to the strong values and supports that made for strength in us in the past and will make for strength in us in the present and in the future if we just come back to the strong, respectful life, decent minds and decent hearts, true values. We have to reorganize our own values. We're putting too much value on things that are very cheap and taking all the value off the things that are very expensive. That means very dear and very precious to human life. And the most important thing, I repeat, is faith. Faith is what accounts for a society having an immune system. When they lose faith, real faith, true faith, they lose their immune system. And then all the other diseases just take over. Thank you very much. We hope to talk to you again very soon at another occasion. We pray to God that He forgive us all our faults and sins and guide us to the right way. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.
Imam W.D. Mohammed authors many publications and makes many personal appearances throughout the world in an effort to spread the truth of Islam as taught by the Holy Quran. If you'd like to support his efforts, send your contributions to Muslim American Community Assistance Fund, P.O. Box 1061, Calumet City, Illinois, 60409.